Hey, all, EC here. And has anyone ever realized, just how popular the Mario franchise is? Mario's sort of a weird thing for Nintendo where no matter what sort of scenario they put him in, it'll work. It'll work really well and it'll become popular. And, it would be an RPG, a sports game, a racing game, a party game, a painting game. Like, they seem to be able to put Mario in any situation and people will buy it. People will eat it up because it's Mario. Now, it's kind of weird that this is a comparison because when you compare, say, Mario to the other two big major sellers for Nintendo, those being Pokemon and Zelda, there's obviously a lot less you can do with those franchises. Pokemon's obviously a lot more limited anyway because of the rights being divided between multiple companies. But Pokemon, sure, you can do pinball with Pokemon. You can do, like battling sort of games with Pokemon. But there's less you can really do with Pokemon as, like, sort of characters than you can do with something like Mario. Similar with Legend of Zelda, if it's not really an action-adventure game or some sort of action-focused game title, it is very hard to really justify putting the Legend of Zelda name on that franchise or on that game as you try and push it. But with Mario, it's kind of an interesting situation because you can seemingly put Mario in any situation and it works. He's had 2D platformers, he's had 3D platformers, he's had obviously the Mario Kart series. You've got all these Mario sports games like Super Sluggers, like Mario Tennis. You've had spin-offs of Mario. So you've had Mario Land, which is a spin-off of Mario, and then you had Wario Land, which is a spin-off of that. And it just shows that Mario is just kind of an interesting oddity within gaming because you seem to be able to put him in any situation and it works. You have series like Mario and Luigi where obviously it's all focused on the lore and building a grander story and all the games are connected. And you got games like Mario 1, 2, and 3, which obviously the original Super Mario Bros. Games anyway. These games, obviously, sure, they're connected, but they're loosely connected. They're not like as major. You haven't really got to play Super Mario Bros. To understand what happens in Super Mario Bros. 2 or Super Mario Bros. 3. It's kind of weird. And then you got Mario Kart, which is just a whole another kettle of fish, which is deemed its own franchise by people and by Nintendo, And it's kind of insane that Mario's had such a level of success. And really, people seem to forget Mario has such humble beginnings. Mario just started as, a guy called Jumpman in a Donkey Kong arcade game. That game was never expected to be the top seller. It was never expected to be as huge as it was. And then Mario became a beloved character because of the Mario Bros. Arcade game, Super Mario Bros. On the NES. And they just kept building off that. They just kept building off of Mario as a character. The lore, the background, the characters within the universe. And with Mario, I think there are two things you need to factor in. I'm talking about Mario as a series. The characters and the worlds. With the worlds, we've obviously seen the Mushroom Kingdom, but we've seen Nintendo go beyond that. We've seen Nintendo go beyond that world. We've seen Nintendo add power-ups from many different games and features and ideas that weren't possible in previous games. Obviously, as technology has evolved with NES and Game Boy and obviously transitioned further and further into more and more powerful hardware, Nintendo games have sort of taken advantage of that, added more powerful power-ups, more interesting ideas and more unique concepts for games. But also it's the characters in the Mario franchise that also define it. Not only is Mario the everyman, everyone can relate to Mario, everyone has had that dream, especially when you're a kid, of being the hero, being the guy to save the day and being the guy who can obviously blast through waves of enemies to save the princess. Well, everyone has had that dream growing up. They're all they sort of sold that message, not only with Nintendo but also with some older movies like Disney, for example. They say the idea that the prince or whatever is going to save the day. But then but it also feels like with Mario, it doesn't matter what genre you put him in, it'll work. Have you seen how many Mario RPGs there are? You've got Paper Mario, you've got Mario and Luigi, you've got obviously the Super Mario RPG. And all the games, even if they don't sound well, are great stories. They have interesting ideas. You've got Mario Party, which is just a fun multiplayer game, similar to Mario Kart being a fun multiplayer game. But this takes place in a party and sort of party games and battling. Mario Kart itself is a huge success because it's a unique idea, it's a fun idea, and we have seen competitors come out for these series, right? We have seen competitors come out against Mario Party, against Mario Kart, and yet nothing ever seems to last as long as Mario does. And I think that comes to the brand power and what it represents. Mario is a character that we can all relate to, we can all see his games, we can all see his stories and what he goes through in the story and the game, and we can all enjoy it, and we can all sort of learn from Mario and sort of feel like we're the hero in that situation. In these games, in these worlds, in these stories we play, we feel like we are the hero, we are the protagonist, and we feel like we are Mario. And that's sort of why it always works and why Mario has always sort of been that iconic, and Mario has always sort of worked as a series compared to other series like Zelda and Pokemon, especially because obviously with Mario you can just drop him in any situation and it will work. And I think that's what we forget when it comes to the Mario series. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's have a nice conversation about it. Do you think Mario, is the universal character and now we can all relate to Mario and that's why his games do so well? Or do you think there's another reason for that? Do you reckon, like, Nintendo's put some, like, mind control device in one of their games, and since we've all played that game, suddenly we've all started wanting to play Mario? Let me know if you guys think in the comments down below, and if you need, make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that sort of stuff. And I've been EC, and I'm signing out. Peace.